Prime Minister to examine synergies between agriculture and commerce, says use of force policy must be guided by a balance between public and officer safety, and stands with the United Kingdom in the face of terrorism. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Simone Wolf.
Jamaica and the Jamaican government is working diligently to broaden our brand meaning and our brand awareness.
And part of that drive, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says, is improving the business and regulatory climate while creating the infrastructure necessary for companies to thrive. At Thursday's opening ceremony for the inaugural Jamaica International Exhibition, Mr. Holness unveiled a comprehensive plan of action to enhance Jamaica's brand in the area of commerce. He said the regulations for special economic zones would be brought to Parliament in 2 weeks' time. Work would continue on improving the island's road network, and investments would be made in creating more urban townships. The Prime Minister also spoke of initiatives such as a special measures bill to target high crime areas, increasing financing to banks, ensuring regulatory standards through the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, and improving public sector efficiency. Mr. Holness also encouraged greater use of the island's foreign policy to encourage trade expansion in Latin America and other parts of the region.
We want to be the coolest people. Yes, we are happy to be known as the fastest people in the world. Yes, we have created reggae music and influenced pop culture. Yes, our assertiveness has made us known to the world as people who have stood against oppression. But we also want to be known as the most efficient people, the most productive people, the easiest place and the best place to do business.
Increasing Jamaica's market share in global commerce was also a talking point for Prime Minister Holness Tuesday when he opened the $1.25 billion Tetra Pak factory at Tradewinds Citrus Limited. He said he would be finalizing policies that will create synergies between agriculture and commerce. The corporate approach to the sectors, he said, would increase economic growth and job creation.
We need to get our growth engine running much faster. So I'm going to be taking some personal time from the policy level, looking at the administrative issues that need to be resolved, looking at the regulatory issues that need to be resolved to ensure that there is greater synergy, greater integration, greater connectivity between agriculture and commerce, because that is what is going to drive growth immediately in the short term for Jamaica.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says his government will not rely on the use of force for maintaining law and order. He says a balance has to be struck between public and officer safety while guaranteeing a process that builds trust, confidence, and ensures the public feel there is no need to fear the police.
The use of force policy must underscore the importance of the preservation of innocent lives, and it must go further. It must also underscore the professional obligation to train members of the security forces to the highest standards so that they are able to ensure personal and public safety and be able to operate in varied circumstances.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking at Wednesday's Caribbean Use of Force conference put on by INDECOM. He also spoke to the important role INDECOM plays in ensuring that the human rights of citizens are preserved.
The policy of this government is to have a police force, a law enforcement system that sees INDECOM as an important part of its own policy and strategy of implementation, and have an oversight body that sees themselves as supporting the police force in reaching the higher standards and deploying the alternative methods of law enforcement for the common good of securing Jamaica land we love.
Prime Minister Holness also reiterated Jamaica's commitment to global security this past week. When news emerged of 2 other terrorist attacks in the United Kingdom, Mr. Holness restated the island's solidarity with Britain in its fight against terrorism. He also extended the sympathies of the Jamaican people to the families of those killed in the London Bridge and Borough Market attacks. The courtesy room at the office of the Prime Minister received some amount of traffic this past week. On Thursday, Mr. Holness met with French Ambassador Jean-Michel Depaz and a delegation from French construction company Bouygues Vinci. The day before, Prime Minister Holness was updated on government's work to reform the public sector. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Holness visited the National Gallery of Jamaica, where he signed a condolence book for the late art curator Dr. David Boxer. Boxer passed away on May 28 after a long illness. He was 71 years old. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.